fried chicken, rice, and lentil beans. And that my mom would cook that and lay it all out on the table, and we'd all fight to get the leg drumstick first. And then.
Hi, I'm Mareya, otherwise known as the Fit Foodie. I'm a chef, holistic nutritionist, author, inventor, and mom. And I want to welcome you to my podcast. It's called Recipes for Your Best Life. And with every episode, I'm peeling back the onion on fitness, nutrition, health, wellness, and family. The truth is, you're the chef of your life. And for every important pillar, there's a great recipe worth sharing. So every week, we'll explore them together. Think of it as food for thought that you can really sink your teeth into. So join me, and let's squeeze the joy out of this life, because you only get one. Can I get a fork, yeah? I'm the Fit Foodie, and I gotta tell you, for me, I love hearing inspirational stories from people that are just real, you know? They're real experiences, real families. They're just so honest and open. And I think that enriches our lives because at the end of the day, we're all united. It's really refreshing. And I had the opportunity and privilege to meet our next guest. He is a real gem of a human being. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. He just exudes warmth and grace and absolute kindness. And it's amazing to me. He comes from probably one of the most well-known name brands in the country, in the world, but has a humbleness about him that is just really endearing. And I want to welcome George Foreman IV to our show.
Wow, that's probably the greatest introduction I've ever had in my life. Thank you so much.
Well, it's true. And I just have to say, you know, from the minute I met you, I was like, this guy is the real deal. He's just so kind and gracious. And, you know, it's just so refreshing. I mean, you come from a legacy of the Foreman family. Obviously, your dad, you know, probably one of the best known brands in the world, built an empire with his George Foreman grills after a legacy of boxing. And you are one of 10 children that that are all part of this amazing legacy of the Foreman family. And I just want to know, what was that like growing up?
You know, it's hard to compare to anything else. It was just, you know, with 10 kids, it's always an event. Everything is an event and a big experience. There's never a dull moment or a dull second, but I have to credit a lot to my mom. She was such a humble lady. She is such a humble person, and no matter what was going on, whether we were walking through fight promotion scenes and weigh-ins, or whether we were on the ranch, my mom kept us so grounded. Everything we did on one side, on the Hollywood side, it was confident. It was something very humble, and they kept a good balance for us growing up.
She kept it real, right?
She kept it very real.
Yeah.
Very real.
So I got to ask, tell me and tell everybody, what was dinner time like at the Foreman table? I can just imagine. I mean, you've got 12 people just with the kids and your parents.
That's right. You know, we're all big eaters. You know, when you're raised by the heavyweight champion of the world, eating it's special. It's something spectacular. It's something that's shared. It's something that's always enjoyable. So everyone in my family is really a huge foodie. So you calling yourself a fit foodie, it was like, well, we were kind of growing up, we were all fit foodies, getting to watch my dad train and eat well and binge out when he was off a fight and eat cheeseburgers. Eating was always a spectacular experience, and a lot of the time, especially in my elementary to high school, we were trying out different food cooking processes. So new grills would come in, and we'd all get around and have steaks for everybody. So eating was an awesome experience in my household, always competitive as well.
Literally, eating became a competition at home.
That's
I can
right.
just imagine. So, I mean, did you guys raise any of your own food growing up?
You know, we were always well educated on good health. My dad made sure he showed us how to do the things that he wanted to eat. And with 10 kids, when you have to cook for 10 kids, you got to use as many of them as possible to help get the job done. So we were educated along the process, and it was always a learning process and a teaching process as well.
So did you get into the kitchen as a kid?
Not as much as I want to. I'm still going through and learning the way my parents did things, the way my dad cooked things that I like, the way my mom cooked things that I like. I'm the 8th out of 10 with 5 older sisters and 2 older brothers. So a lot of things were done for me. Like I get to do the little things here and there. So as I get older, I start to really appreciate the opportunity to learn how things are cooked and why things are cooked certain ways. Why do I like steak cooked on the frying pan, then on the grill? Like little things like
sure.
that. Like so the learning process is growing.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I gotta hand it to your mom. I mean, I can just imagine it's like feeding an army every night, So, what did you said steak is one of your favorite things. I mean, if you had one favorite dish that your mom made growing up, what would it be?
My mom is from St. Lucia, so she's a very cultured cooker, very cultured chef. So, if I could have one dish, it would be fried plantains, fried chicken, rice, and lentil beans. And that my mom would cook that and lay it all out on the table, and we'd all fight to get the leg drumstick first, and then whoever got the thigh or the breast was mad because like the wings are fried so well. It's more so the experience of laying everything out as a feast, and everyone's kind of attacking it.
I love it. I've actually been to St. Lucia. It's a beautiful place. It's and I think so much of our experience comes from our family and our roots. And so I can imagine around the table, as important as the food was, what was the conversation like?
I come from a family of teachers. My grandmother was a mentor and a teacher. My dad is a preacher and a spokesperson and a heavyweight champion and an Olympian. So it was a lot of listening, a lot of detailed, in-depth questions. We're a family of skeptics, so everything that if somebody feels a certain way, the rest of the family is quick to interrogate and make them elaborate on what they feel and why. And we're with 10 kids, of course, it's a bipartisan moshing pit of opinions. And even now, we sit down Sunday brunch, and sometimes we go to hotels, and sometimes mom cooks, sometimes we go to restaurants, but it's always an awesome conversation format to talk about what we've learned and what we think about what's going on in the media and in Hollywood and in Congress. It's always been a great conversation piece because of the age difference, and it's always been like that since I was a little kid.
I think that's really it's great for everybody to hear too. I mean, we have this perception sometimes of personality. People may not even know that your father is a preacher.
Yeah, it's strange because my whole life, and unlike some of my siblings, my entire life he's been a preacher. So that's all I've known him as. I talk to my older brother sometimes, and he talks about coming from California. My dad, of course, lived in Northern California in Livermore when my brother was born. And my brother talks about moving to Houston and my dad preaching and learning about that side of my dad. But for me, that was natural. But he always kept a balance, showing us, giving us a good upbringing as a preacher, but also as a good American, as a good citizen, and showing that there is a difference between all three, and that what's most important is that you're loved by your fellow man.
I love that. And, I think what wraps you and your family up that is really intriguing is this idea of family really sticking together in a family business. I mean, you're not just part of a family; you are part of an empire. What is your mission with the family business now that you are really caring. You were the torch holder of the brand, correct?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I've kind of taken up the shield and sword here, and decided to carry on the brand as best that I can. Using the relationships that my dad has given to me, and I also have my brothers working alongside of me. We've just kind of taken up the torch and said, what can we do next with the Foreman brand? It's given us so much, and it's given so many people so many great stories, whether around the kitchen or around TV, watching fights. How can we leverage those stories and that intimate detail, that intimate relationship people have with the Foreman brand, and continue to grow it as a business and help more people?
So food and fitness has been really a backbone for you guys. Will it be in the future as well?
What's most important is that what we represent as a brand is good health, wellness, family safe, integrity. Those are the things that we want to represent as a brand. If it doesn't fit with the entire family, it doesn't represent integrity and quality, we'll pass on it. Mm-hmm. There have been a lot of opportunities that come, and we have to really look at each other and say, you know what, opportunities come and go, but you can't rebuild or reintroduce your brand as quality once you've taken that away from people. Mm-hmm. You can't reintroduce integrity and say, oh no, now we're back with integrity. No, you only have one chance, and you have to maintain that over time. That's a good lesson that we've learned from our boss, our dad, and he stayed pretty strict on sacrificing, opportunity to maintain integrity, and we have to make sure we uphold that.
That is the truth. So I have to ask you, because your nickname is Big Wheel, all right?
That's right.
In a family of 10, how did you get that nickname?
So, of course, all my brothers are named George Edward Foreman, so nicknames are a requirement. There's no way, especially when you have three. I think when I met you, there was 3 George Foremans in the room, so right. You have to have a nickname. And so I got the nickname Big Wheel from birth. When I was born, my dad said I was such an intimidating baby. I came out screaming and flexing, and my mom was terrified. And my dad said, that's the Big Wheel. He got that name from my great-grandfather, who was a small guy, but had such a bad temper and a big character and very macho. So my dad gave me that from my great-grandfather from birth.
Well, you may have gotten that from birth, but you are none of the things you just said. You are like the opposite of being an intimidating, mean character. You, well, at least the side that I know, maybe.
No, it's fine. No, we were raised all playing sports, and I think because, and again, my dad is heavyweight champion of the world when I was a little kid, so he kind of was a good example of how to be intimidating when you need to be and how to turn it off. And there's no need to really overwhelm people with your machismo masculinity. There's no need to do that. Like, just be a good person. Your masculinity and your intimidation will come on your battlefield, which was for the football field for me, and the basketball court for my brother, and the wrestling mat for me, and the boxing ring for my dad. So
I love
keep
that.
it balanced.
I love that. And it's, it's so inspirational to me to hear that, you're carrying this torch on. I mean, the success of your family's endeavors is just phenomenal. And I'm just so happy to know you and to see you guys succeed in everything that you do. So if people want to learn a little bit more about what the Foreman family is doing, where can they go?
The best place to go, and I do my best to try to make it continually informative, but GeorgeForeman.com. It's that simple. And to see what George is up to, what he's doing in the media, what he's doing as a brand, find out about his story, find out about his children, find out about his passions. And that's the best place to look. We have a youth and community center, and the goal there is to give kids a safe place to have fun, be competitive, but most importantly, to stay out of trouble. And it's kind of evolved into a really awesome gym over the years, and it's my favorite place to work out and hang out. But that's another website you can check out. If you go on Facebook.com and type in George Foreman Youth and Community Center, you can find it on there.
I love it. And boy, I would love to see those pop up all over the country.